到 Nottingham Trent 的教授来为大家做一个 demo 的 class。那另外的话，也会针对就是申请国外的行销专业硕士的这个部分跟大家做一个分享。那我们邀请到校代 Ashley 将会为大家做一个简单的介绍。OK， 那这边先请校代跟教授跟大家打声招呼。Hello Ashley。Hello，
大家好，我是 Ashley。那我是Nottingham Trent 的 International College 的在台湾的招生代表。大家好，晚安，谢谢你们的参与。
OK， 然后再来是我们的 Bernice。Can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Bernice. I'm an academic manager in Nottingham Trent College.
OK, thank you.OK， 那我们就话不多说，我们现在的话呢，会开始这场会议。那等一下会先从 Ashley 做一个大概20分钟左右的介绍，然后再进行到我们的 demo class。OK， 好，那 Ashley 现在就交给你喽。
好的，谢谢 Dan。那我先分享我的画面。OK， 对。那对，我是 Ashley。那我在台湾这边的话是负责招生的部分。那很高兴今天晚上可以跟大家度过这1个小时。那我希望我的部分尽量再缩短一点，等一下预留多一点时间，让大家去体验一下我们的教授在英国教书，或是你们在英国的课堂上面上课的时候是一些互动或者是我们会怎么样去一个 teaching style 这样子。那也谢谢那个 Tutor ABC 有邀请我们。好，那先简单介绍一下，那我是除了代表 Nottingham Trent University 的 college 以外呢，我们的公司或是我们的教育集团在台湾在整个英国里面合作的 partner 有15位这么多。那我们除了 Nottingham Trent， 我们还有 Nottingham、Bristol、Glasgow， 这些都是我们合作的伙伴，也是可以透过我们的课程然后升上去。那我们最主要的话，虽然provide 一个 pathway 的program， pre-master， 可是也是有植入的选项。那如果想要咨询的部分，可以联络 Tutor ABC 的顾问们。那主要说我们的 passing， 如果透过我们的 pathway 升上去硕士班的话，我们的 passing mark 大概是40分，在整个英国里面。然后我们的 progression requirement 的话，会落在40到75分，depends on 你的学校跟你的学位，你的 degree 是什么这样子。那我们是一个 on campus 的课程，说学生需要飞到英国那边去面对面授课的。这是我们的一个 timetable， 那这个是一个 sample 而已。那我们是礼拜1到礼拜5都会上课。那我们有时候会早上9点上课，有时候可能你的课堂是11点开始的。那到最晚的话，我们就会大概是5点会下课。那你这样子看到好像要上很多，其实我们每一个礼拜真正上堂的课程的hours 时数大概是20到25个小时。那当然我们也希望学生在20到25个小时上堂以外的时间，也会自己用心去做一些 revision， 或是去做你们的 assessment 这样子。那我们除了有课堂上面教授以外，我们还是可以让学生去选择一个 online 的 internship。那这个 online 的 internship 的话，会是在你整个课程结束之后，然后利用 summer 这段时间做一个 online 的 internship。那这个 internship 包含的career fields 的话是非常多。那以今天来说，我们business 的学生也有 marketing 的学生 logistic 的学生，也都会有提供相关的online internship。这个 internship 的话，也是可以帮助大家去增加经验，然后结束这个 online internship 之后，都会拿到一个 certificate， 那可以为你的 CV 增加更多的很有用的经验。那我 我们的 progression rate 的话呢，就是非常的不错。那我们可以单独来看看我们 Nottingham Trent 的话 ，progression rate 是98% 的，在2023年的毕业届里面。然后如果是其他的学校，包括可能是 Nottingham 是90，然后我们 Liverpool 是89，然后 Glasgow 是94这样子。那我们 Nottingham Trent 的话呢，在哪里呢？它其实位于整个就是英格兰本岛的一个中间的地方，它距离伦敦大概是2个小时的火车，然后如果它去 Manchester 的话，也是大概2个小时的火车，那它去 Birmingham 是1个半小时。其实它附近除了这几个大城市以外，还会有Sheffield， 还会有 Leeds， 还会有Lancaster 这一些都是以大学就是为中心的城市，所以相对来说就是比较单纯，然后大部分都是学生在这个地区里面。我们 Nottingham Trent 的这个学校位于 Nottingham 这个 city， 在 Nottingham 大家都应该知道，除了这一所学校，还有另外一所大学，所以其实整个城市大部分有50% 的人口都是那个学生，就是是整个 Nottingham City 里面的。那大大小小还会有一些就是技校啦，或者是小学啦、中学的部分这样子。那 Nottingham 位于的地方，距离伦敦也有2个小时的距离嘛，所以它的 living cost， 他们的生活那个费用的话，对比那些大的城市是比较少的，这是比较 affordable 一点的。那 Nottingham Trent 这个学校的话，我们是比较着重在 work experience 的 opportunity 上面，所以很多我们的 degree 都会有可以让学生去选择出去实习的那一年。那可能是 master 的学生比较没这个选项，因为 master 它的时间很刚好，就是 very packed。你就是1年的时间里面，你要去就是上课，然后你要完成你的毕业论文这样子，所以在 pre-master 这个课程，在 master 这个课程里面比较没有这个选项。可是我们还会有我们还会协助学生有那些 career service， 帮学生毕业之后来协助他们出去找工作这样子。那 Nottingham Trent 这个学校呢，相对来说也是比较 modern、比较新的学校，所以呢，在2023年的那个 Times and Sunday Times Good University Guide 里面，我们是拿到 Modern University of the Year， 就是比较现代化的学校。我们的 teaching quality 也非常好，我们是得到金奖的。那得到金奖，整个英国里面大概只有40个学校左右，那整个英国大概是有160到170所学校。那我们 Nottingham Trent 是拿到 teaching 的金奖。那我们为什么就是这么多学校里面，我们 Nottingham Trent 也是可以是你的其中一个选项呢？我们的University 在整个世界里面是 the second most sustainable university， 是就是很着重在永续这一个部分。然后我们也是 Top 150的 Young University， 虽然年轻，可是我们该提供给学生都有提供，包括是教学的质量，我们学生他毕业之后出来的 outcome， 然后工作方面的其实都是很好的一个指标这样子。然后也有很多 clubs and societies 让学生去参加，所以学生其实在我们学校里面除了读书，也是可以 enjoy 到很多不同的文化体验或是活动。那我们适合一些什么样的学生呢？适合一些想要有 campus life 的学生，因为我们是一个很完整的 campus， 里面什么都有，都是集中在我们的校园范围里面。然后也是适合一些学生想要多一点的 practical learning experience。那我刚刚有说我们会有提供一些就是出去实习的机会给学生的，那这都是可以获得一些就是实战的经验，然后也想要在一个比较安全的地方读书，要比较便宜的地方去生活跟读书，因为在 Nottingham 这个地方的话， 他们的人口的组成是比较单纯一点的，以学生跟当地的居民为主，然后也是比较 affordable 一点的 compared to the other 就是 big city 的话。那我们整个 campus 的话呢，就是非常的集中，都是你可以看得到我们的地图，都是绿色的 都是我们的 building。那大家其实走路10分钟、15分钟就可以，就是走得到去不同的设施这样子。那我们有 library， 有 IT 的房间，有学生会，也有就是 sport facilities。然后当然学校也会有很多的咖啡厅，有不同的小小的商店，跟我们会有在学校里面会有个 bar 这样子，就是可以喝酒啊、聊天啊，然后跟朋友相聚的地方。那也是会有一个 health center， 如果真的是不舒服的话，我们是有就是当场有这个 GP 会这边帮你去就是看医生，或是给你一些健康上面的建议，包括是可能身体上面的不舒服，还是你就从很远的地方过去读书，在心理上面的过渡有需要帮助的话，我们都会有 on campus 的staff 可以帮助你。那我们整个学校距离市中心是非常非常的快的，大家可以看得到，在这个地图的下面有一个就是箭号，它就是写说 5-minute walk to the city center， 所以其实你基本上连坐车都不用，你连坐那个 tram， 我们有一个 tram stop 在我们整个校园的中间，你连 tram stop 都不用做，你就是直接走路5分钟就会到 center 那边，可以购买啦，也是可以消遣这样。那我们 Nottingham Trent 的学校除了可以植入我们各个的 degree 以外，那我们还会有提供衔接的课程。那衔接的课程会直接在我们校园里面读书，是可以使用学校里面的 facilities 的。那我们也有提供住宿的部分，那学生也不需要去外面寻找就是住宿。那我们的住宿是24小时会有就是safety 也会有那个 staff 在那边去帮助学生，不管是安全的问题，还是你有一些房间上面的问题需要解决的话，都是有人在那边的。然后还会有一些 common rooms 让学生去使用、去读书什么的。那我们的宿舍的类型的话，其实都是 en suite， 就是有房间，自己的房间，然后自己的卫浴。那你会需要跟人家共用的话，就会是厨房跟一些 common 的 area 这样子。那如果是 pathway 这个 route 的话，我们是可以怎么上去呢？我们就是从 pre-master 通常就是读1年的课程，9月开课会读到5月，然后中间就是放一个暑假，之后就会接1年的Master degree， 然后就会毕业了。我们接受的 entry requirement 就是入学门槛的话，会比直入稍微低一点点，也接受5专生。然后我们的雅思分数也会比直入的再稍微低一点点。我们最低可以接受4.5分雅思，然后每个项目都是4.0，都可以来我们这边先就读就是我们的 pre-master。那我们可以衔接上去的 degree 是非常多的，从 bachelor 到 master degree， 然后是从 art and design， 然后从 animation， 然后从 law， 或是从那个 business 这一方面，我们都可以衔接上去的。那如果是我们的费用来说的话，是pre-master 是17540英镑。那个1年，那是我们的学费。那如果是大学自己的话，就大概是22000到23000英镑左右。那我们的 intake 的话也是非常多，我们9月一定会有一个 intake 嘛，然后再来的话，我们会是1月也有另外一个 intake。所以如果你错过9月，或是你雅思考不到，我们还是会有1月可以衔接。也会有提供给学生奖学金的部分。那我们的奖学金的话，就是现在有一个 late bird 的 scholarship 晚鸟的奖学金。那从4月开始到6月底这段期间去申请报名的话，跟接受 offer 的话，我们都会有1000英镑的奖学金。然后你 完成整个课程以后，然后完成整个可能pre-master 课程，然后衔接上去你的之后的 master 课程，我们也会有一个 progression 的 scholarship。那这个 progression 的 scholarship 的话，就是会有些条件，就需要你在我们的degree 里面 pathway degree 里面拿到70分以上，然后就可以获得1000英镑的 progression scholarship。那刚刚有提到的，我们的 accommodation 是有提供的，然后那边也会有洗衣的服务。也会有一个 welcome service， 包括是 pre-arrival 的 support， 我们有 airport pickup， 也会有一些举办一些 social 的 activity 跟 welcome week， 让学生就去更熟悉整个 Nottingham 学校的环境，跟整个 Nottingham City 的就是生活的环境。那 student life 来说的话，我们还是希望学生有一个study，然后 and life balance 的一个这个方式这样子，所以我们有学生会，他们会有不同的活动，你都是可以去参加的。那你可以参加不同的 sports club， 然后也会有 sports facilities 在那边，也有 music center。今天你喜欢或是你有习惯是就是有音乐的这个就是做音乐的习惯，你可以用我们的 music center。那我这边介绍学校的部分呢，很快就结束了。那当然，如果你有什么问题的话，都可以在我们的网站上面找得到，或者是可以联络 Tutor ABC 的顾问们，他都会帮助你分析你的弱点跟哪一个学校的特点。那如果有兴趣想要跟我多聊的话，也是可以跟 Tutor ABC 的顾问们，然后他都会跟我联系，然后我们可以在下一个时间去多了解我们可能其他的学校的入学跟他们的就是教学的环境这样子。那接下来的部分的话呢，我就先取消我的 screen share， 我就会把接下来部分交给我们今天的教授 Bernice。 Bernice is from Nottingham Trent University College, and she is the academic manager. She will present us, she will do the demo class with us today, and it's about business related. So I will pass the time to you. You're on, Bernice, you're on mute.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Great. I'm sharing my screen at the moment. Yes. Ashley, do you want to give me the permission to share? Because it's not giving me the opportunity to share.
Dan 这边你可以帮忙一下，去让校代那边可以，就是教授那边可以分享他的 screen 吗？
Okay. Wait a second.
Okay. Because it's not allowing me to share now.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can.
那接下来的 demo class 的话，我们会以英文去进行，然后也会有一些小小的活动在穿插在中间。可是大家不需要太担心说是不是每个人都需要轮流发言？我们不是走这个方式。然后今天想要让大家体验的是，在英国上课的时候，那我们老师除了会有一些 discussion， 就是小组讨论以外，那还会用什么样的方式去跟学生有多一点的 engagement， 让学生会更就是对课堂上面认识到的东西可以运用出来，或是用不同的 tools 让学生去就是跟教授他们或是跟老师他们去做一个互动这样子。
Actually,
can you share the screen right now?
It's still, the button is still not giving me permission.
Oh.
Ashley, I've sent it to you on Teams. Can you share it? Because it's not allowed. Yeah. So if you share it, I'll just talk us through it. Don't know why.
Okay, a second, please. I'm opening the file. There are some pages that I cannot access.
If you just click in, it should give you permission.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying see if I can. That says something went wrong. I don't have the permission to access the form, but we can start the demo class first.
Okay, just bear with me. Oh. Oh, what is happening? I don't know. Just bear with me one moment, please.
Yeah.
I don't know what is really happening. Okay. Is he able to share now?
I'm sharing mine.大家都可以看到我的 share
Right.
screen.
Okay. Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry for the technical, problem. Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity. My name is Berenice Amisa. I'm academic manager in Nottingham Trent International College. I'm also a tutor for pre-masters, and I teach strategic management, and I also teach entrepreneurship. So today we are going to look at a topic that covers or that borders both entrepreneurship and strategic management. Okay, Ashley, okay. Our objective for the class is to define, we are looking at the business environment. So our objective is to define what a business environment is. We will try to analyze how some of the forces within the business's macro environment, their strategic decisions within, the environment that they operate in. We would also try to understand how some of the, the changes from the macro environment would affect strategic decisions. So next, please. So first of all, for a business, we know that businesses such as, let's say, Apple, Samsung, Huawei, all businesses, they do not operate in isolation. They operate being bothered by different elements within the environment. So they are affected by the activities of their competitors. They are affected by the activities of suppliers, because you need suppliers to, provide you with the raw materials to produce goods and services. So businesses interact with these suppliers. You have consumers, that is those who buy the product, so customers, consumers of the product. You have government policies and decisions also affect, the businesses. So if a government make changes to, for example, trade policies, then that will also affect how the business would operate. And then we have other international environments. So if you're a global company, or if you're a business that operates outside of your local, country or your home country, then you are affected by some of the decisions within, outside, that particular environment as well. Okay, right. So I have a question for you, and please put your answers in the chat. Okay, the question is, name one business organization you admire. It can be from car manufacturing, it can be a retail, it can be social media, it can be any organization. Please post it in the chats, and let's see what you have in the chats. Okay. I'm sorry, Lee. Okay, Lee's posted it as a question. Okay. Okay, so let's see what responses you have. For example, great, Starbucks, fantastic. We have Starbucks operating. Yes, fantastic. Any more? Can we see a bit more? Okay, Nike, that's great. Thank you very much. Okay, so what Apple, fantastic. So as you are adding on to the the business organizations, we will just kind of continue so that we are within time. Actually, we go to the next slide, please. Okay, the reason why I asked you to put in the chat these companies is to kind of let you know that these companies do not operate in isolation. They interact with their customers, they interact with the other businesses within the industry, they interact with the government, their suppliers, and so on and so forth. Now, the business environment has two components. Okay, we have the internal environment and we have the external environment, and we are looking at internal environment, which is within the control of a business. Okay, so for example, if you take Starbucks has their employees. They can control the employees, they can control the culture within the business, their management, who can be promoted, who can be given certain decisions within the business is controlled. Okay, that is in the internal environment. However, in the external environment, it is beyond the businesses or the organization's control. This is beyond their external factors that affect the business, and you're looking at economic factors, social, technological factors, political, legal, ecological, and so on and so forth. So for the purpose of this class today, we are going to look at the external environment. Okay, the external environment in this case is also considered as the macro environment. Next slide, please. It's also considered as the macro environment. Okay, I have a QR code. Okay, for an activity on what we think are the components of the macro environment. And the question is, from the macro environment, actually, can we move to the next question? If you click in, great, it's showing up. Okay, it's loading. Ooh, something went wrong. Okay, the question was to find out from you what you think are some of the components within a business's environment. Okay, so the question is, list examples of internal and external factors for a business that you are familiar with. So for example, for Starbucks, okay, what are some of the internal or external factors that you think affect Starbucks? Okay, Lee, are you able to type it for what are some of the factors, whether internal or external, that affect a company or an organization such as Starbucks? I'm sorry, if I was controlling it, it would have kind of popped up. Okay,
No worries.
but that's fine. Okay, I'm just going to post it in the can you list examples of internal and external factors that affect Starbucks? Okay, that's the question. That's the question. That's the question. Okay, so you can pin it to the QR code. You can scan the QR code, and then you'll be able to also post your answers to the platform. Okay. Yes, please. Shall we move on to the next? So that's the question. If you can think of an example that will be fantastic. Actually, we move on to the next because it's yes. Right. So the focus for today's lesson is to assess the external environment of a business. Okay. And one framework or tool that is used to analyze and to assess the external environment of a business is the PESTLE framework. What does PESTLE? Oh, great. I have someone in there. It says items on the menu and the prices. Fantastic. That can be an internal factor, within the organization. Thank you very much, Joy. We have PESTLE analysis. So a tool that is used to assess the organization's external environment. And here, by assessing the external environment, you are able to identify some trends, that are taking place, certain changes that are taking place, so that you are able to, as a business, you are able to also adapt or make changes to reflect your organization's strategies. Okay. Shall we move on to the next slide? So the first component or the first element that we are looking at is the economic environment. The economic environment. Now, what does it mean by economic environment? It's looking at factors that affect how a consumer is able to buy product or to even spend. Okay, how they are able, certain factors are able to kind of affect a consumer's purchasing power. That's the ability to buy goods and services, and even how they spend. And such factors would include inflation, unemployment rates, exchange rates, GDP, interest rates, disposable income. And for the purpose of this lesson, I'm just going to choose one element and then we can use it as an example. Okay, so I'm just going to look at the an example of inflation. Now, what is inflation? Inflation is the rate at which the general prices of goods and services rise, and subsequently can affect your purchasing power. So how often the prices of goods and services increase, regular continuous increases in the prices of goods and services. These can affect businesses. It can affect your ability to buy products. If let's say you go to the market today, you go to a supermarket today, you buy a bottle of Coke, and Coke is it may be £1. I'm just using as an example. And then the next day you go and the price is no longer £1, it's £1.50. And then 2 weeks later, it's gone up to maybe £1.99. That can be, it means that prices are increasing so speedily that it's become difficult for you to be able to buy the product. Okay, so in this case, it is affecting you, and it would also affect businesses, because if you are not buying, then businesses will not also be able to make enough profit, revenue and profit. So the impact is it can affect the business cost. Okay, so you can have impact on the cost of raw materials. Increases in prices means increases in the prices of raw materials and production, which can then lead to increases in the prices of the product. Okay, and then again, inflation can affect your ability to buy, and I've kind of talked about that as well. It forces businesses or organizations, or even it forces you as an employee of an organization to demand for increase in your salary or increase in your wages, because if prices keep rising, is expensive, then it means your wages or salary is not able to afford your the current goods and services. So there is a high demand for your your salary to increase. Okay, the next slide, please. The next one we are looking at is again an activity. Unfortunately, it's also so I think it's a slide that Ashley is not able to access. I don't know why it's not giving you the activity, but I wanted you to identify some economic trends. Okay, some economic trends. So apart from inflation, what other trends can you see economically that you think is affecting businesses? Okay, what other trends? So maybe I wanted you to kind of talk about interest rates. Okay, maybe mention interest rates, maybe mention GDP, that is the gross domestic product. Oh, a quick question. Can anyone post in the chat, okay, the current GDP rate for your country, for Taiwan? What is the current GDP rate for Taiwan? What's the current GDP rate for Taiwan? Are we on? Yes. Okay, that's good. Someone is putting inflation. That's great. There was the current GDP. That's the gross domestic product rate for Taiwan. Anyone at all? You can research. You can go on Google and then type GDP rate for Taiwan. Okay, that's good. Joy has posted it. Thank you, Joy. You are very kind. Thank you. Right. I've got 3.14 in 2025. Well done. Okay, that's fantastic. That is currently the GDP rate for Taiwan. So well done for that. Actually, shall we move on to the next one, which is the social, the political environment, right? So when we say political environment, now it's looking at government, and we know that government makes decisions for institutions. Okay, so we have political and legal combined together as the kind of environment that affects businesses as well. So we have political and legal environment encompasses government policies, their regulations, legal issues that affect the business's operation. Okay, so for example, we have trade policies, labor tax, employment laws, tax policies, environmental regulations, all coming from government. Government decisions also is in the external environment, in the broader environment that affect, businesses. And you're looking at, again, I'm just going to take one of these to kind of highlight on, okay? One, so we can look at trade policies. We are looking at the trade policies. For example, trade policies. Now, if government let's say government changes the trade policies, okay, or trade tariffs in a country, what do you think happens? Yes, can anyone post in the chat? If government changes the trade policies or trade tariffs, okay, so think about it. We've heard in the news of what is happening in the US. The US government has changed the trade tariffs in the US. What do you think is the impact to businesses? Can someone give an example of the impacts in the to any business? For example, Starbucks, Nike, Apple. What do you think the change in trade tariff has on any of these businesses? I'm still waiting. I'm giving maybe 1 or 2 seconds for someone to post. Fantastic. There's commodity price changes. Fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't see your name, number 37. Great. This is one of the impact of trade tariffs. The prices of commodities, the prices of goods and services change. There's a significant change. Great. Okay, I have a question. Do we really need to follow the trade policy? For businesses, yes. for business, it isn't you following, but the change is having an impact on your business's activities. Okay, it's having an impact on your business's, activities. So like the trade changes in the policies will influence the cost of goods and services, the market access, competition dynamics within, the business environment. So an example here is, you have the change in trade tariffs currently affecting businesses, okay, or US, China, for example, and you have businesses that have maybe their component parts in being done in another country. So at the moment we have US and China, some form of trade war, okay, where the US have imposed a certain level of tariff on them. And you have a company such as the Apple, which produce, some of their component parts are coming from China. So what happens in this case is the fact that because they source their component parts from China, it means that it is going to have an impact on their ability to bring in these component parts to the US. So Apple now will have to find alternative sources, okay, or alternative supply chains, and consider maybe shifting their production to other countries that is much cheaper in terms of their component parts. So yes, definitely. Thank you, Colin. The cost goes up. So that's fantastic. Thank you for that. Shall we move on to the next, please? We have the social environment. And in this one, I'm expecting everybody to be very active. So we have the social environment that looks at the influence, which influences the consumer needs and the size of the potential market for businesses. Very important. Social environment is looking at demographics, demographic changes, lifestyle changes, educational changes. We want to improve our education. We want to have a better form of education, okay? And so you want to go to maybe university, like now you want to go to and do a master's degree. That is a change in your educational level, okay? And that means that that exposure can lead you to maybe experience different things, different cultures, and so on and so forth. So when you come back home to maybe Taiwan, your taste may change, the way you look at things may change completely. And that is the social environment. It has a huge influence on, on the market as a whole. Businesses in these areas may need to expand the operations, okay, to kind of adapt to the different changes in lifestyle and the growing demand for maybe certain products. Okay, so we will look at one example. We are looking at demographics, and in this case, we are looking at the age. Okay, we are looking at age distribution changes. Now, if you look at an area in a local area, okay, in let's say in Taiwan, and a region with a growing elderly, population, yeah. The more older people within that particular region, what it means is that, one, there might be increase in healthcare demands, yeah, increase in healthcare demands and services that will be kind of tailored to the adults, because that is what the demand is. More people are older, so businesses will change, let's say what they are offering, their product they are offering, their services they are offering, and tailor it to this kind of customer base, because that is the growing population. Okay. Now, you can also look at the certain changes as well. So again, what in this particular case means that for age distribution, more aging population means that more demand, increased demand in, let's say, healthcare services and products. For an impact in a local business, we are looking at offering more senior friendly products and services such as home healthcare, mobility aids, and leisure activities. Are we okay with that? Yeah. You can also consider an example, a lifestyle change. Now there's more demand for healthy options. Okay, everybody wants to look more healthy. There's more demand for healthier choices, healthy options. More people are beginning to demand for more becoming vegans, vegetarians, and so on and so forth. So what does that mean? It's for a business, it creates an opportunity to bring in, these other options in order to meet the demand, the growing demand for these other healthy options. Okay. We have the next one. I'm wary of time. Yes. Ashley, we can move on to the next one. Technological. Now, technology is great, isn't it? It's because of technology. Now we are on Google. There are so many options to interact with people. So technological advancements creates new products, new markets. It creates new products, new market. And so businesses are able to take advantage of these, products and new market. They come up with new inventions, innovative products. Currently, we have iPhone 16, okay? And it's going to continue. So they are coming up with new products. We have, Apple rings, we have Apple watches, we have different things. Oh, am I great? Okay. Right. So basically saying that automation, innovation, digital transformation is as a result of technological advancement. And this presents great opportunities to businesses. Okay. Businesses are more taking advantage of social media to as part of their marketing, strategies, and they are more moving away from the traditional means of, let's say, marketing to more digital. Is as a result of what? Technology. Okay. So it is very, very, very key. So we can look at one example, e-commerce, as an example for technological advancement, which refers to buying and selling of goods and services over the internet. So you have it has definitely revolutionized, the business world. So now you have most businesses transitioning from local shops to online. Okay, and that is as a result of technology. So you can see the influence of the technological environment. Okay, we have small businesses have adopted e-commerce platforms and are expanding their reach to compete with the bigger businesses. That is as a result of, e-commerce. So that is great. You can have an example company like Amazon, okay, using advanced e-commerce technology such as AI-driven recommendations and so on and so forth. And that gives them the marketing presence. Okay, so that is for the technological environment. Yes, shall we move on to the next, please? Okay, again, is an activity. We wanted to see what are some of the, I wanted to find out what you think has the most influence on the technological environment. Is it AI? Is it AI? Is it automation? One moment, let me quickly find. So the question is, do we think which of these has a significant impact on businesses? Is it the Internet of Things? Is it AI? Or is it the blockchain? What do we think? Can we post our answers in the chat? Which technological, okay, quick change speed, that's great. Joy, thank you. Which technological advancement do you think is having a great impact on businesses? Is it AI? Is it Internet of Things? Or is it blockchain? You can post your answer in the chat. Is it AI? Is it blockchains? Great. So you have AI, blockchain, Internet of Things. Yes, thank you, Lee. Great. AI. Yes. Any more? I want to see a little bit more, answers to this one. Which one do you think is having a greater impact on businesses? Okay. Right. So whilst you are thinking of which one is having the greater impact, we'll move on to the next, which is ecological environment. Thank you, 37, for your answer in the chat. AI is having significant impact. An example is Amazon, the use of AI, in their in how they operate. Okay, so that is very important. The use of Amabots in how they package, packaging in their warehouses and so on and so forth. So thank you very much for that. The next one is the ecological environment. So ecological environment is looking at environmental regulations, which is aimed to protect the environment by controlling, let's say, for example, controlling pollution, okay, waste management, resource use, caring for the communities and workers. Very important, okay. The key is important to note that the ecological environment is now bringing changes to how businesses operate. We want to reduce plastic waste. Okay, so now businesses are adopting a better way of either using plastics or recycling plastics, or using better, let's say, raw materials in their packaging systems and so on and so forth. We again, in terms of the ecological environment, you are also looking at sustainable ways by which businesses are using, their raw materials and also their business processes. Okay, so it's very, very important, and therefore it calls for corporate social responsibility on businesses to ensure that the environment, they are not polluting the environment with the waste, that, or in their resource use, they are being very, very sustainable. Okay, thank you very much. We have the next one, which is a case study. Okay, it's a case study. I wanted us to kind of discuss the case study, but because of time, I'm just going to give it to you as something to think about. The case study is the impact of COVID-19 on business environment. Okay, so if you were in a class, I would have put you in groups, and then you can have discussions with your group members. And then when you finish, you can even do a huge presentation on this particular one, and then you share your thoughts as a group on this case study, and then we can then do a huge discussion. Okay, and the question is, how do you think the pandemic affected the components of the business environment? So how did it affect the political environment, the economic environment, the social environment, and so on and so forth? How do you think businesses adopted to the changes that came about as a result of the pandemic? Okay, so that was a question that I wanted us to discuss. Yeah, so again, this is on the Padlet. I hope this one, you'll be able to scan the QR code and post some answers to the QR code. You can also put your answers in the chat as well. What do you think are some of the effect or impact of the pandemic on the business environment? Ashley, how many minutes do I have?
Roughly 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay. All right. So whilst you are putting the answers on the Padlet, I'll probably quickly run through the changes, some of the changes. So I'll just kind of mention a few. Okay. So again, some of the impact would have been the shift to remote work. So there's more people are working from home, okay, than normal, because previously we would have to be in the office as part of but as a result of the pandemic, businesses realized that more work was being achieved, more results were being achieved with people working from, so there's a shift to remote work. There's changes in consumer behavior. There's more online, demands than you would go to a normal shop to buy goods and services. So that is a shift in consumer behavior. Okay. All right. So actually, I suppose I don't have much time, but yes. So in summary, what have we learned today is that the business environment is made up of two components. Okay. We have the internal component and the external component. Both of these affect the business's strategies. However, one is controlled, or one can be controlled by the business organization, but the other is beyond their control. Okay, and however, the impact affects the business. That is the external environment, and we have looked at that in using the PESTEL framework, the political, the economic, the socio-cultural, technological, legal, and environmental or ecological factors. We've also looked at how changes in these factors affect business. That is the impact of these changes on business. It can be positive change on the business, or it can be a threat or a negative change on the business. But at the end, it is the businesses that are mostly affected, and they use this opportunity to kind of either make changes that affect them positively in their revenue, their profit levels, or it can be negative that can lead businesses to go out of business. And an example is the COVID. The smaller businesses went out of business because of the pandemic lockdown. Businesses were not able to, consumers couldn't go physically to a shop, and so they were affected by that. So thank you very much. Any questions to the presentation? I know this is a little bit rushed, but if it is in a normal classroom, it would have been a great interaction. So thank you all very much for this time.
Okay. Thank you, Bernice and Ashley, for the presentation and the demo class. 请问大家有没有什么问题想要问 Ashley 或是 Bernice 的？
那在英国的课堂上面呢，其实都会就是有一些 case study 大家去讨论的，然后也是希望大家都是可以参与在其中，比较踊跃，所以并不是坐在那边，然后都是整个黑板白板都写满字，然后你就一边就是只自己做自己的笔记，回去就自己做自己作业。我们比较多的是想要跟学生互动，想要听一下你从这个国家来，你从这个地方来读书，然后对于不同的议题上面，你会有什么的不同的看法跟想法？因为每个国家的就是 policy 不一样。那个环境不一样，政治环境不一样，跟 culture 都不一样，会是一个很好的，就是一个 brainstorming 这样子。那我们的学校其实都很鼓励学生以这种方式去学习。那今天的话，就是 Bernice 那边有准备很多不同的 activity， 然后贯穿一整个 demo class。那当然可能在真实的课堂上面没有办法每一节课都这么多 activity 让学生去参与，可是至少我们都会有一些 discussion， 然后有一些议题上面的一些 presentation， 或者是一些投票之类的，我们都希望就是大家从学习的当中是有趣的，然后也学到东西的。对，那如果有什么问题的话呢，我们就是已经刚刚超过了一些时间，那可是没有问题，我还是会在这边就是回答大家。那因为 Bernice 她之后有一个 meeting，so I know Bernice you have another meeting at 2 in the UK, so I can then and I can do the wraps up, and then you can I will leave your time to you first.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you soon in September. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
那我这边如果大家有什么问题的话，都可以开麦克风，然后去发问，或是在 chat box 上面去问。那我在这边会多待个2到3分钟。那如果大家都没有问题的话呢，那就是今天也很感谢大家，就是跟我们一起待到这么晚，已经9点了，希望大家都已经吃过饭了这样子。那有什么问题的话，就是尽管去找 Tutor ABC 的就是顾问们，他们都是很乐意为大家去解答升学上面的问题。对，
我看到这边也有就是高中生，然后跟就是来自各个不同年龄层的学生哦，我觉得大家不要害怕尝试去国外可能像是上这样的课程，或者说可能去有接触到像衔接课程这样，其实让你提早去在这样的环境下做学习。其实刚刚 Ashley 有提到，就是一些 brainstorm， 你跟来自不同国家背景的人有一些交流，然后在课堂上的讨论，这些都是很珍贵的学习的经验。那刚才的 demo class 你也可以看到，就是有很多的互动，就不是只是说单方面的听老师讲授而已。所以这一块的话，刚刚大家应该也都可以感受得到，整个学习的模式方式是不太一样的，你是需要去把自己的想法可以呈现出来的。那针对今天的讲座，不知道大家这边如果说还有什么问题的话呢，其实现在都可以提出。那假设现在还想不到，需要整理一下的话，那也可以欢迎就是会后跟我们的顾问做联系，那我们这边顾问也都会协助。好，那这样看起来的话，大家今天就是应该都有一些收获了。然后刚刚也很开心，就是有同学们在 chat box 里面把自己的想法打下来，然后让这个就是整个整体的互动呢，就是让大家可以感受到上课的模式氛围大概是这样子。OK， 好，那今天的话，我们可能就先让会议到这边。OK， 那我们先谢谢。OK， 我们谢谢 Ashley，Thank you Ashley，
谢谢大家，晚安。
晚安喽。好，谢谢大家，晚安，拜拜。